In other news, the lack of storage facilities and warehouses in some communities in the Upper West region has resulted in huge post-harvest losses. One such community is Xingu, located in the one municipality of the Upper West region. The farmers say that due to lack of storage facilities, they are forced to use traditional methods to store their farm produce. This has resulted in insect attacks on the crops. Joy News' Upper West correspondent who visited Xingu reports that the farmers in the community would have loved to increase their yields, but fear this may be a wasted venture if issues of lack of storage facilities are not addressed.
Xingu, one of the many farming communities in the one municipality of the Upper West region, tilling the land for this farming season, which has already begun here. 41-member Balayele Farmers Group, based here, is busily preparing the land for the rainy season, which is actually a few weeks away, according to the Ghana Meteorological Service. Each of the members, after this, will do same at his personal farm to prepare the land for subsequent planting. They swung and cleared tree stumps and thorns with some bravery and brute force. The group last year cultivated 14 acres of maize and yielded 114 bags. Among the group's concerns is lack of warehouse to keep the farm produce. 50-year-old mother of 7, Badu Idi, said their yields on their farms over the years have increased, but the challenge they have is where to keep such bumper harvest.
We always
have food in abundance, but where to keep them is our major challenge. Our houses are not in the best of shape, but we have to keep them here. We cannot leave our houses and take them to another person's house. Even some of them serve as beds for our children because we have little space in our rooms.
Most of the houses in this community have leaking roofs. The farm produce are always destroyed as a result, especially when it rains incessantly. It is the wish of farmers here to increase their yields this impending farming season. But here is the case, they are without any modern storage facility of a sort. What they depend on are these traditional methods of storing their farm produce. Another way that they store this farm produce is also through hanging them on the walls like this. Only 2 members of the group can claim to be luckier, as they have receptacles in their homes to store their farm produce. It is the dream of the farmers to double their yields this farming season, but according to 43-year-old Ali Sabana, who has a 5-acre farmland, they fear their harvest will just go waste.
We are well prepared to increase our yield, and we know that God will be on our side. But our challenge is the place to keep them. Our food always goes waste because of weevils and other animals that has been eating them at home. We always toil to get the food, but lose them to weevils and animals.
They are looking forward to one district, one warehouse to solve their challenges. Secretary of the group, Leticia Salier, however, will wish that one should be constructed in the community.
If we proceed to farm a large farm, if we get the seeds, we don't get a place to keep them. So we fear to plow our acres to be multiplied. We don't have any place to keep them. We don't have a warehouse. That's why we don't farm plenty, and we farm into our limit time. But if they only can help us to get a good place for us to keep them nicely, we also like it in that way.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Xingu.
Well, there you have it. Really disturbing story, isn't it? Well, next week, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is hosting the Food Systems Conference to provide the platform in finding solutions to some of these problems. Emma Ankra is a member of the Peasant Farmers Association. She's here with me to discuss the reality on the ground and how we all can help solve the problems they're faced with. Thank you so much for joining me, madam. First off, share your experience with us. We've had other farmers in that particular story share the experience of how they lose so much and the challenges they face. What's your experience?
Really, it is true that we've been losing. Sometimes you make it, but sometimes you can't make it. Because of this thing, the land preparation, some of us have been using manual this thing instead of machine. So if they can help us with machinery, something like power tiller, plower, tractor, and others. But formerly we lose a lot from fertilizer also. But now, thank God that they have given us, the other former president started with us before the current president came in for the subsidy. So that one, I may say, is helping us. But the thing that we need is power tiller and combined harvester, if they can help us, because I'm a rice farmer stroke vegetables. So the rice, if you don't have power tiller, you can't do it. You face a lot of challenges.
So share with us, as a farmer, what you've had to do sometimes and some of the losses that you've made.
Okay. On the ground, if you don't have power tiller, you can't do this thing. You cannot do the work in time. Sometimes the planting time will come a pass before they'll even give you, maybe, because we are plenty, but the workers are not many. So if you want to go into manual, that one, it takes a lot of time.
Do you use the manual method?
Yeah, sometimes we use, and it is affecting the soil. In the sense that you have to spray, instead of plowing to turn the soil, you are using gramazole and other things, which is spoiling the soil.
What is gramazole?
Is the chemicals we've been using. We use chemicals to just the weedicide. When you spray, the weeds will die. It takes time before it will come again. You have to spray about 2 or 3 times before the weed will come down. Then you have to slash. All those things are costs.
I'll come back to you to share more of your experience with us. But talking about cost, I've got president of the Private Enterprise Federation, Anosei Punsu. He's joining us to help us understand the financing opportunity for smallholder farmers and Ghana's agric farming policy. What is working and what must be reviewed? Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Good morning, Mefa.
Great to have you.
For the opportunity.
All right, Ben is here. So tell us exactly, we've been hearing from Emma Ankra. She's a peasant farmer, and she has acknowledged that, well, they've had some support, but she believes that government should do more if we're going to have more yields and deal with post-harvest losses. But tell us exactly, what opportunities are there, or what opportunities exist for smallholder farmers?
The opportunities for smallholder farmers are limited. The kind of resources that can be tapped into by smallholder farmers are not that many. And so it makes it very difficult. You don't have grants, because for a smallholder farmer, granting them a loan on the back of their small acreage and the yields is not what you want to do. You want them to have some technical assistance that can be supported in a way that is zero cost to them, like the extension services and all. So financing should not be on the back of the debt angle that we've been talking about that is only available. It should be in a combination of, equity, and a combination of grants, and the combination of technical support, and also trade financing. State financing is when you providing sorghum to Guineas, so Guineas can pre-finance the smallholder farmers to produce in a quality arrangement contract, and then once they submit deliver, they get paid the amount that they do. So, but we don't have that in our environment, and that is, to me, what is not making the smallholder farmer a little more prosperous or even active in a way to produce what they can. But on the back of that, when we talk about finance, we have to talk about what is the finance going to buy? The mechanization, the proper seeds, hybrid seeds, high-yielding seeds. So if you can provide this in-kind support, the financing actually is very limited or not necessary in the long run, because they're going to use the financing to purchase various items. And now that you're supporting and providing those services and ingredients for them, it should be limiting the kind of financing that should be available. But it's a critical element that we always make. That is, how do you de-risk the exposure of the farmer to various hazards, rain, fire, and all? We don't have the insurance coverage for the smallholder farmer because the premiums are so high they can afford it. So how do you buy down the premium of agricultural insurance so the smallholder farmer with his 2 acres, in case there's a catastrophe, can be covered on the back of that coverage? All
right, Mr. Bonsu, now, when you look at agric on the face of it here in the country in terms of what's in the news, what the government is saying, what the papers are saying, there seems to be a lot going for the industry. But when we speak to farmers like Emma Ankra here, it seems to be a different reaction or different different side to the coin. What exactly is working with our agric and farming policy, and what must we be reviewing?
Okay, the first and foremost statement is it should be done on the back of private sector participation. Government policy is sometimes trying to create the enablers or the enabling environment they tend to do instead of facilitation. Government policy framework is established. It got to allow private players like the smallholder farmer, the aggregators, the transporters, and all to operate. But then government sits down to implement on its own through the state institutions. That is what has always been the problem. Because at the end, when the government moves out or it doesn't work, we go back to square one. It's been repeated time and time again, and it's always failed. So when we talk about policy, policy is to create enablers, and then government will use that policy to facilitate the participation of the individual smallholder farmer, the commercial farmers who can pull the smallholder farmer from the doldrums and bring them to the 21st century agriculture and be able to provide a market. Every farmer produces to sell. And if you don't get a market, it's not going to work. But when government implements, they forget that there's a need for a market. And government doesn't create market. It's the private sector that creates a market. So you have to find a way to make the policy framework implemented by private sector, facilitated by government with some of resources and the technical assistance that go to support the players on the ground.
Nana Bonsu, thank you very much for your time. He's president of the Private Enterprise Federation. But I've still got Emma Ankra. She's with the Peasant Farmers Association. Now, you just told us that you used to grow rice. Yeah. Now, I hear that you're growing okra. Yeah. But with that, you're even having some challenges. Yes. with scaring birds off your farm. Share with us what exactly you go through.
Actually, when we plant the rice and it is up to 2 months, then when it started bearing fruits, when you don't scare the bird, if you don't take a labor, you have to, if you have about 2 acres, you have to take about 2 people. Or either than that, you go and buy net. And you know the net is very costly. So if you don't
How much does it cost?
Some are about 200 Ghana per the coil. And acre, you have to use about 2 to 3 bundles before it can cover the whole.
So that's looking at about 600 cedis.
Yeah. Then from there, you have to mount, take a labor to mount stands to cover the whole farm. Yet still, you have to get someone to be there once a while. But that one is not all that difficult, like without mounting the net.
So right now, how do you scare birds off your farm?
We use catapult. After that, we use catapult. You have to mold a clay to be throwing. You'll be there 24, I mean, say from 5:30 or from 5 o'clock a.m. till 10, 11. Then they go. Then they come back around 3 p.m. till 6 o'clock. You'll be on the field all the time.
Sacking the birds.
Sacking the birds. They come in numbers. You see, before you sack them, then by 6 they go again. So that's what you'll be doing.
How much does it cost you to get these young men to be on your farm?
They take 15 cedis per day.
And how many of them do you have?
You take about 2. If the best, they have time, February to March, then sometimes to April. Then that is the time that they used to come. But after that, they go small. They doesn't come like the way they used to come.
And even how successful is that? Are you able to save a lot of your farm produce?
Farm produce. If you don't start early, you can't save it. When you start early, that is the time that the rice started shooting, and they'll suck all the milk from the
plant.
Yeah. So if you don't suck it from the beginning, you do it well, you'll not get anything. You run into loss. So that's what we have been doing.
Well, then, Emma Ankra is with the Peasant Farmers Association, definitely painting a picture there of what they go through as peasant farmers. There will definitely be a lot more discussion on this at the Food Systems Conference on the 27th and 28th of this month. Do make a date. We'll be bringing you updates on that. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. And hopefully we'll be able to get some lasting solutions to your problems at that particular conference. Now, away from that, okay, you have one last thing to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
About our land preparation.
Okay.
We need machine, power tiller, and especially we need power tiller. That's the most important
thing.
This thing for us, and combined harvester.
Okay. I'm sure a lot more of that will be discussed.
Certified food,
seed. Okay.
Seed.
All right.
Those are the important ones that we need.
Great. Thank you for coming, ma'am. We really appreciate your